Hello and welcome to another episode of Humans in 5.
We thought we'd pick up on one of our previous episodes on the topic that affects half of the world's population, but isn't all that popular: menstruation.
One of the consistent stories told around menstruation is that if you get a group of menstruating people together, boom, you'll get these cycles happening at the same time. That's right, anybody with a period in the same vicinity has the possibility of being sucked into menstrual synchrony.
The popularity of this idea can be tied back to a study by Dr. Martha McClintock, published in 1971. She collected data on the menstrual cycles of undergraduate students living in the same student residence at a university in America. She asked participants for information on their menstrual cycle and to identify their closest friends in amongst the same housing unit. Her results showed that the start and end dates of menstrual cycles between women living together became more similar throughout the academic year, and that they became even more similar between close friends.
Dr. McClintock's study was based on ideas that had been around for a while. In 1955, researchers Lee and Vanderboot found that when a group of female mice lived in the same space and had no interaction with male mice, their estrous cycles would stop. This is known as the Lee-Boot effect and seems to be based on changing chemical signals that can be picked up by other females in their urine.
The Lee-Boot effect suggests that there's a biological shift without the presence of males when it comes to female use of energy. That is, without males being around, and thus the possibility of getting pregnant, the female body reduces reproductive activity. Researchers focusing on humans assumed that this pattern would show up with women syncing their period or their less fertile parts of their cycle when they were together.
That's just the point. It's not the same amongst humans. While McClintock's study has stuck in the public consciousness, other studies looking at this have found completely different results. That, as always, when it comes to menstrual cycles, they indicate it's a bit more complicated.
In 1999, anthropologist Dr. Beverly Strassman looked over McClintock's paper and pointed out some issues with how the study was constructed. When it comes to periods getting synced, Strassman said given an average 28-day cycle for two women, 14 days was the maximum amount of time they could be out of phase, since, on average, the onset of periods will be about 7 days apart, and that periods usually last about 5 days. Given the closeness of all of these numbers, it's actually pretty likely that women will have a similar cycle to their friends, close or not.
The other issue is that because menstruation is still a taboo subject, people with periods often don't know how many others around them are menstruating. If your friend is close enough to tell you about it, you may feel like you have a bond over this. This may make you feel like your periods are syncing up, but it could also just be random chance.
Some of the scientists have looked into this in our closest primate relatives. In 2011, some researchers from Durham University looked at menstrual cycles amongst mandrills, on which they had decades of data. This allowed them to look at changes in pattern of menstrual cycle start, length, and end date amongst one group. They found that periods synced up for 1 year out of the 10 this group had been studied, and even then only with particular females in the same group.
So why does this myth keep coming up? Well, because we keep telling it. Major television shows, books, and films have contributed to using menstrual synchrony as a plot point or a chance for period havers to get chummy. While it may work for a quirky conversation, the reality is that we're more likely to have the same cycle just because we're humans in the same room and not because we're all tuning into the same period wavelength.
He is hoping we can be moon sisters regardless of the phase, and we'll see you next time on Humans in 5.
And don't forget to subscribe!